for anxiety. So, if you're new to the community, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm posting 3 videos a week. And the more you want the videos, the more videos I will post for you. I just want them to be useful for you. So I have some crystals laid out to represent the balance of chakras. We're going to do our prayer, clear ourselves out, and really get into this healing session for healing anxiety. So, as I do normally, with your permission, may I say a prayer? It is not a religious prayer, just a prayer to connect us as community. May I say a prayer? Okay. Take 3 deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Final breath. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, relax wherever you're at. Dear Mother, Father, God, and all for our highest good, please connect us as a community and root us down in our healing journey. Please allow us to be supportive to our community as well. Please connect us to the Reiki Masters, the Ascended Masters, Master Jesus, Master Buddha, Master Kutumi. Please connect us to our ancestors, our spirit guides, spirit animals, and archangels, and all for our highest good only. I say all of this in the name of I am. Ashe, 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 ashe. Fantastic job. Continue to breathe here. And I'm going to go in and just clear us out. I'm going to do some traditional Reiki symbols here, clearing out the air as well. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. Okay. So, recently we've been working a lot on our third eye, that brow chakra right there, so that we're able to see a clear vision of the future. Our future. With this theme of anxiety, still continue to breathe here. With this theme of anxiety, a lot of times, at least let me say for myself, I'll feel anxious because I am uncertain. And the uncertainty comes from a lack of confidence. Confidence on whatever the plan is. So, as most of you all know, I do teach yoga. And in my yoga class, we do Virabhadrasana 2 or Warrior 2. And it's just that pose where you're standing and you got your arms out both sides. And when I do that pose with my students, I let them know that your arm in front, let's say it's this one, the arm on this side represents your future. Your front arm is whatever arm your gaze or your look is looking towards that direction. Your front arm represents your future. Your back arm represents your past. And in the middle represents you and your present. So a lot of times what happens is you can see about the person the exact way that they get into the pose. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. If they're leaning too much forward in that front arm, they probably have a lot of anxiety. If they're leaning too far in this back arm, they may have depression. And in the middle is where you're trying to balance. Now, you don't have to be perfect all the time, but try to just stabilize yourself. So you can actually pause the video now and just take a look to see how you get into the pose. It's called Warrior 2. If you don't know what it is, you can just Google it and just see naturally. Look at yourself in the mirror and see how you get into that pose. And that'll tell you a lot about the energy that your body is carrying. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that when you are leaning too much to that back arm, which could cause cause depression or sadness. It's a representation of the past. Dwelling in the past, not being able to let go of the past, reliving and ruminating about things over and over and over again. And a lot of times we can get stuck there, rightfully so, if you have traumatic things that happen to you, or you just feel kind of particularly stuck in your life. You can't move forward. Maybe it's health, finance, other personal reasons. You can start to ruminate about the past. Complainers sometimes are like that too. They just ruminate about the past. But if perhaps you feel more of a pull on this front hand and you're feeling very uncomfortable, you're not balanced, you're tipping over, that's where the anxiety is coming from, because you're hyper focused on the future. Now, there's nothing wrong about planning for the future, but it hasn't happened yet. So if you're planning for the future and then you're trying to plan for every little thing, every little wrong thing that's going to happen in the future, then unfortunately, you'll never be able to live in the present and live calm or even feel confident about your future. That's why a physical thing you can do is breathe down in your warrior two, root it down in the center, and balance yourself living in the present. You're learning from the past, you're planning for the future, but you're balanced in who you are here. And that's definitely a representation of what we were talking about today, our chakras in general. So a little bit more about anxiety. And I'm just going to take this moment to really start to work at your aura here, just to kind of free you up from anything in the past that might prevent you from wanting to just move forward. Release being stagnant, release that fear. But more about this video is about the anxiety aspect of it. Anxiety is something that we give our power away to. Anxiety is nothing but fear, and the opposite of fear is confidence. So if you come into a new situation, whatever it is, and you know nothing about it, and you think you're not going to do well with it, then your fear is going to grow. Your energy is going to give into that. But if you come into a situation, maybe you know a lot about it, or you feel really confident that you're going to be able to do it. You're like, look, I got this. I've never done it before, but I'm pretty sure. Then your energy is going to grow into your confidence, and that's going to reduce the fear. So fearful thoughts will still come up, and they'll come into your mind, but you'll release them because you're like, it doesn't make sense. I've proven myself already here. Now, if you feel like quite a few things in your life are popping up in which you have a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety towards, it really is a representation because it comes up to come out. So those things that you're confident in, they're already rooted down. But the things you're not confident in, they're going to come up so that either you can be stronger in them, which takes time, or you can let them go. Now, the process of getting stronger in anxiety is really difficult because it requires you to walk through it, to stand in it, and to take active steps each day. And a lot of times with anxiety, motivation is a key factor. If you're so anxious or fearful, you're not going to want to be motivated to take any steps. But the one thing that you don't have the energy to do is actually the solution to get you to the other side. Because you'll know after time, if you're like, hey, you know what, this is not even worth my time, just let this go. Or you're going to say, wow, I'm really glad I stuck with it, because now I feel confident about it and I'm not even going to worry about it. But it takes that transition time. Transitions are the most important times in our life because they really define what our future will be. So if you really want to be planning for the future, you have to put in the work now. And half the time putting in the work, or I might even say 80% of the time, 80% of the time putting in the work is really conquering our own fears. Because you might find out that physically you can do it. Everything might be lining up, but internally it is such a battle because that's what you should be working towards. So as I always say, have compassion, be patient, and just continue to go forward and pivot a bit. You might have your plan. You might realize, oh, that's too heavy. I'm going to take some off. And then just keep on going. Do what you can day by day. Okay. So just doing some clearing out. These are Metatron hand positions, so they're really good for the auric field. And I love that this video was requested, because this is something that I face myself. And I've looked at my life and I've never really felt like depression really took over me, though I do recall sometimes being depressed, but I felt like anxiety has taken quite a bit of my life, because I guess with my personality, I've always been very action oriented and a thinker, so I like to come up with plans and plans and plans. But if I didn't take action, I would just come up with more and more and more and more plans. Actually, I think I'm more of a thinker than I am action oriented. But when I would come up with so many plans, I would get overwhelmed because I didn't want to make a mistake. I had a horrible time with perfectionism growing up, to the fact that I think that I began to underachieve because it just was too much. I couldn't live up to the standards or the expectations, unfair expectations that I was putting on myself. And with this time of Uranus in Taurus is about practicality. So be practical. So if you're anxious or fearful towards something, identify those things, what they are, one at a time, and be practical. And sometimes you gotta let some things go you don't actually want to let go. Maybe you think like, okay, I want to be perfect in everything. I want to be the perfect mom, be the perfect partner, be the perfect person at work. I want to be the perfect person in my community. I want to do all of this to 1,000%, but we only have 100% in the day. You know, I think in life we have these ebbs and flows where sometimes you are killing it here and not so great here. But the beautiful thing about confidence is the things that you're really good at, have the confidence that they're going to start running on autopilot. And for these other things you're not so good at, okay, you can put a little bit more energy into that, but only if it's worth it. When I first started to do yoga consistently and I went through my teacher training, my teacher actually said, as a yoga student, you should be a C student. And I thought that was crazy. I'm like, don't we all want to be A's and B students? But she said, be a C student. I was like, why do you want to be a C student? She's like, it's more important to be consistent. If you come in and you want to be an A student the first day that you're not able to do something, you might just say, forget it, I can't do it, I made this mistake. But be a C student. Just come in and do your best each day. And it also is a good learning lesson of, when you're being physical, if you overdo it, you hurt yourself. Because I've had quite a few yoga injuries where I'm just over here overdoing it. I hurt myself and then I can't do yoga at all. And then that really hurts your self-esteem, or you're feeling like, oh, I've finally gotten that routine of something. So be practical. And another thing that I think for anxiety, which would be really helpful, is be careful who you talk to. Some people have the personality where you're going to go and put things out there to the world, and that holds you accountable. And that's fine. If that's how you're driven and motivated, I'm not hating. You can go ahead and do that. Other people, I guess I'll use myself. I'm the type of person where I like to go and accomplish something and then I let people know. And I used to give myself such a hard time about this because I felt like, I want to let people be involved, be a part of community. But I started to realize that if this is the most important thing to me and I tell somebody and they don't receive it in that same energy, I'm going to be upset. And it's not even their fault. It's my fault because they have their own life and their own things that are important to them. I'll share with them when I'm ready to share in the journey, but right now I cannot be distracted by anything. And sometimes people are trying to help you by sharing their opinion, and that might lead you astray. And it's reality. Like, you might want to do something really courageous. You want to start your own business or something like that. And your partner, rightfully so, might say to you, like, that's not a smart idea. We got to do X, Y, and Z. And you try to explain to them, like, I'll do this or I'll do that, and it might not be enough for them, or your parent or your friend or someone in your community that you feel like is important. And that might really tear you down, and it might discourage you, and you might already be discouraged because you're like, look, I don't know what I'm doing. What I say to that is just go ahead and do it. Do it and don't tell them. If it's like a big financial endeavor, then yes, you do have to communicate that and have that. But if it's literally your time, then if you can do it, put it together, and then when you've actually started to create or reach some of these milestones, then share it with these important people in your life, because they'll be more open to accepting and being like, oh, cheering you on. And watch, reach some milestones and say, hey, this is what I want to do. And they might say boo-hoo, and then you're like, look, I've already accomplished. And that might switch a little bit. Case in point is when I went to college, I was the first person in my family to graduate from a university, to go to grad school, to do these things. Going in beforehand, I was so overwhelmed. I didn't know anyone in college. I didn't know how to navigate anything. I had no clue how I was going to pay for it. I was trying to figure all of these things out on my own. And I remember a few people in my family who chose not to go to college and ended up being successful in what they were doing. I could tell it was a little sore spot for them, because I would talk about college and they would say, oh, you don't need to go to college. Not everybody needs to go to college. And I don't think they were actually talking to me. I think they were trying to help themselves on the inside for what they thought maybe they could have done or didn't need to do. And so I remember from that moment, I started to be like, okay, well, I'm not even going to worry about having this conversation with anybody. I'm going to go in, I'm going to get into the schools. I want everything solidified, and then I'm going to share this experience with others. So that's exactly what I did. And I was talking to this one person, and I was saying, yep, I want to go to college. This is what I'm going to do. And they were like, what I just said, college isn't for everybody. And I was like, that's completely understandable. This is the path I'm going to take. I've already gotten into the school. I've already got my financial aid package. This is where I'm going in August. And then I just watched their face completely change, because I already put in the action. I already put in the work, and there was nothing else they could do. Now, jump forward, 5, 6, 7 years later, I'm graduating from my master's, and they're so happy and proud for me. But had I had a conversation with them in the beginning of my journey and listened to them, even though what they were saying really had nothing to do with me, maybe I might have felt discouraged or did something else or did something different. So that's why I felt like sometimes you have to just go on that path on your own. It can be lonely, but it's more lonely because you are not at the confidence level. If you're confident at something, you don't mind doing it by yourself, because I'll knock this out the park. I'm not even going to be worried about it. But having to travel that journey alone is a journey within itself. And if you are in a transition period right now, use this moment to have that opportunity to do that, and understand that is the journey. That walking every day with your fear and saying, I'm going to take an action to get a little bit closer to confidence. I did it. Boom. I may still have the anxiety. I may still have the fear, but I'm going to accept that I did my best today, and I'm going to knock it out the park tomorrow. Maybe I just tilt a little bit more, but it's more about consistency. It's more about the fact that I'm going to be able to actually get all the way to 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, a year, rather than being perfect for a week or two. And that's really kind of the energy I'm feeling in anxiety. I want to bless you all very much so, and that you feel grounded in who you are, that if you need a community, that there's a community here, and that, as you know, I respond to all those comments. So tell me what's going on in your life. Tell me some beautiful things that's going on. Any questions, I answer the energy healing questions as well. And the only thing I ask for you is that if you leave a comment, let the comment be for our highest good only. Let it be for the highest good of the community, so that we can protect this community and just keep it a community that is a safe place. We're not perfect. I don't know every answer. I don't assume that, you're going to know all the answer. It's just a place that we come, and that we're respectful of each other, and that, we have that sense of vulnerability and be able to just uplift ourselves and give ourselves the energy that we need to continue to move forward in the day. And okay, so we're going to start to wind down this anxiety themed video. So just relax. Just release. And just make peace with yourself. You are enough now. You are enough now. You are enough now. You are love. You are light. You are everything that you need to be. You have the vision of your future. Your journey is right in front of you. This transitional period is an opportunity. And you can take it. I know you can. I'm so excited for you. So let's go ahead and clear you out. We're going to disconnect so you can get on with your day. Okay. I'm going to free you up right here. Thank you, God. 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 Couple more breaths here. 3 deep breaths for me. Inhale. Exhale. Final breath. Exhale. Well, as usual, you did a fantastic job, and I cannot wait to see you tomorrow. So if no one has said it to you today, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I love you. You have some big, beautiful things ahead of you. I want you to feel connected to that, and I want you to run after that and go get